Fans will wonder why you can't just say, yeah, I'm not going to Everton, I'm staying here. I'm glad it's all over.
Newcastle, Watford, if you want, I will answer 10, 20 for you. You know what is most important for me? I tell you. Newcastle, Watford, my team, tomorrow training session is for you. The other things is more important. I cannot. Okay, the fans know what is most important for us. They know as well. We are fully focused in our job and in our weight and the next game for us. This is really important for us.
So, for the avoidance of doubt, it's Newcastle against Watford at the weekend. What a magnificent straight back he played there. Very good.
One thing I would say, look, Jeff, he's employed by a club at the moment who are quite partial to getting a manager and then getting rid of him about 12 months later. So, if I was Marco Silva at that particular club and I was being courted by Everton, would I be interested? Yes. Would I have to straight back everything and knock it back? Yes, probably. As much as the Watford fans would love to hear this guy turn around and say, I want to stay here for the next 3 years, I'm afraid it's time to get real. Your club don't have managers for that long. Quique Sanchez-Flores looked like a good guy and a really good fit. Soon chopped him for the Italian. He's now gone. So why think that all of a sudden Marco Silva owes them anything special? I'm not sure.
Hang on, we're only, what, 3-4 months in?
Yeah.
He signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
So is it not too early? Are Watford entitled to say, hang on, why should we let you go?
What Watford are entitled to do is say to him, you can't go and speak to him until the number's right. That's what they're entitled to do.
Well, they bid $8 million, apparently, Everton.
I'm told it's nearly double that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm told it's up to 15.
Watford might... Look, I think Everton want Marco Silva. And I think Watford may be thinking, well, we don't want a situation like Everton have got, where you sack a manager and don't have somebody come in. They might be looking for his predecessor now, and that's why he's probably flat-batting these questions, because if I was Watford, it's going to be difficult for them to keep hold of Marco Silva. Marco Silva will probably want to go to Everton, because, like Andy said, you only have 1 year at Watford and they bring somebody else in anyway. And I think it's a sign that Everton... They've got to make a decision now, Everton. And I think Marco Silva, at the moment, looks like the best man for the job.
Well, disastrous night for Everton on the pitch, was it? Thumped 5-1 at home.
Yeah.
Will that... What difference will that make to their views on what they do next, manager-wise?
How long has it been, Phil, now, since Koeman went?
31 days, a month.
Right, yeah. It's been 30-odd days. Look, if David Unsworth was going to get the job, they would have appointed him by now. They've got to act now, Jeff. They really have. After that, you need someone coming in who's ready to get his hands dirty very, very quickly, who's able to get out there and have an impact. Look, I happen to like Marco Silva. I know there are people out there that think he hasn't been here 5 minutes and he hasn't really done enough to warrant all the hype around him. I happen to like the way his teams play, and I think right now Everton are so desperate for a shot in the arm that someone like him, who plays front foot football and he wants to attack, and he wants to commit to scoring goals.
But Andy, he's seemingly not available. You can trumpet his qualities, but if the club are saying no...
It's a number. It's a number. And if
do you think that's all it is?
If you spend 25 million on Davy Klaassen, who looks like not worth a fraction of that, hardly gets in their squad. He's paid 25 million for players that Gylfi Sigurdsson has spent 45 million. He's a shadow of the player that we've seen over the last couple of years so far. Then why wouldn't you spend big money on a manager?
Do you think Everton should... So I'll tell you what, it's almost though the transfer window is still open. There you go. We will go bang. 30 million, Marco Silva now.
30 million?
What if they did?
Look...
Would you
to
say
keep
that
them
was
in the
good
Premier League and
do you
to
think
take
that'd
them...
be good business from Everton?
Yeah, I think that's nothing. But like you say, you pay 45 for Gylfi Sigurdsson. I think you go out there and get the best type of manager. What type of manager do you think Everton want? I think they want a box office manager. I really do. I think now with the money that they've spent, with the new owner that they've got, I think he wants a box office that will fill the next stadium that they go into. And I think he probably wants someone that will win them trophies. And I think Marco Silva at the moment is probably that man out there that they're looking at. I feel sorry for David Unsworth.
I don't know. I mean, across the park, obviously, Liverpool have got a very charismatic manager. They have. There's no question about that. And I think Everton needs somebody that the fans can believe in. This Marco Silva, whether you like him or whether you don't, when you watch his teams play, they do have an ability to get you on the edge of your seat a little bit and to make you think like they're a front foot team.
Am I talking nonsense when I say, well, go on then, Everton, if you really want him, make them an offer they can't refuse? Well, 30 million.
I don't think they'll pay 30 million.
Why not?
I don't think
Watford will get relegated.
Oh.
Yeah. triple that, maybe?
Well,
80 million?
No, and the rest, because half your players are going to have to go. And so, you know, look, your club can be completely paralysed by relegation. So that's not even... Don't even contemplate that one.
But going back to your point right at the top, do you not suspect that Watford, because it's such a well-run club, that the identity of the manager, I'm not saying it's of not paramount importance, but they can handle a change of coach fairly regularly.
They know how to do it, don't
so
they, Phil?
They've recruited well, haven't they?
Very well.
They recruited well in the summer. I'm not so sure Marco Silva had a lot to do with that. Maybe he was just put in place a right coach these players. Like I say, I think they'll be looking for their next manager, and when Silva goes to Everton or Silva goes somewhere else, because another club would want him, I think another one comes in, and it's a conveyor belt that they've got. But for Everton, they need a manager. Whether that's David Unsworth, whether that's somebody else. They've gone 31 days now. I feel sorry for David Unsworth because if first 2 games you get that spike of it's something fresh, but then after that you lose a couple of games, you lose a bit of confidence. Players start saying he's not our manager. They start reading the paper about Deitch, about Allardyce, about Pardew, about all these other managers. They say, well, he's not going to be our manager tomorrow. And David Unsworth there stood in the middle, having to take training, pick players, keep everybody happy, and at the moment everybody is in total confusion.
But they've got to do something. If Silva's not available, if it is a firm no, regardless of the amount of money, what do Everton do?
Look, after that, you would have... I don't understand why Sean Dyche hasn't featured perhaps more in terms of... you know, the press haven't made more of the fact that he's probably going to get the Everton job. Usually there's people in the press that are very close to these managers and they know what's happening and going on. Sean's done an incredible job at Burnley. Everton at the moment, a club with underperforming senior players, some real senior players there not doing it. Look like they need someone to rattle a few cages and not prepared to mess around and go and get hold of the job with both hands. Sean looks like the perfect sort of guy for that as well to me. But why is that one not developed any further? I don't understand that, Phil, why that one hasn't gone on to the next level.
Look, probably because he probably thinks I want to stay at Burnley and keep progressing Burnley way of doing.
He can only go...
Yeah, if I was looking at an Everton manager, and I think they have a certain type... I think Sean Dyche fits the bill of, I think, that what would be the perfect, identical Everton manager. Someone that would go in there, play a certain style, because Everton, you have to play a certain style.
So why do you think they haven't identified that at the club?
They probably have. I would have thought that maybe Sean Dyche thinking, I'm happy at Burnley. What, that is 7th in... They could go above Arsenal the weekend if they beat Arsenal. So he's probably thinking, in management nowadays, I can go to Everton and be out of a job in 6 months' time, where here, I could take them down and still have a job and get well paid and have a club that will actually invest in me and let me control most things.
And enjoy living in the moment, Jeff. It's the first time Sean's been able to actually, even though he's, you know, he's still foot to the floor, 90 mile an hour, but... It's the first time he's been able to relax and enjoy it, what he has achieved so far.
Do you think tonight's result, though, was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of...
For David?
For David Unsworth, in terms of the Everton board thinking, OK, we've got one of our guys, he's an Everton man, he's an Everton coach. Whilst we try and get the right guy, at least David Unsworth can take charge of the team. Do you think now they'll look at each other and say, right, we've got to get somebody, if not in by the weekend, but within the next 10 days.
You get done 5-1 at home by that team, who are actually on a bad side, in all honesty. But you can't get done 5-1 at home and let things fester any longer. That action is needed. A serious remedy is now required, and the only way they're going to do that is that someone who comes in who gets the job. It's a different voice. It's a voice with more meaning. It's a voice that players have to listen to. But all the time it's a number 2 or it's an under-23 coach, as it is in this case. Players know in the back of their mind, they're probably thinking for a while now, Unzi's not getting the job, and what he says doesn't really carry the weight, perhaps, that it might do if they just hired someone.
But all the questions we're asking here as well, the mystery as to why they didn't move earlier, why they haven't been far more strident or purposeful with their targets, does it actually not reflect the fairly common consensus that the running of the club is a split camp at Everton? When you've got the new owner, you've got Bill Kenwright. Is this a reflection of that?
Steve Walsh, the new sporting director. The thing
Do you get the feeling it's not a united...
Yeah, because I keep seeing a different name being linked every day. And you can say it's speculation in papers, but they're coming from good sources. I think when you sack a manager like Ronald Koeman, who you've invested a lot of money in, personally and in the team, you think to yourself, they must have a process now that they're going to go through. Within the next 10 days, they're going to name a new manager. And I think there was 4 games before the international break, so I thought, well, they've got 10 days. And then when that started getting to 20 days and 30 days, you think to yourself, do they actually know what they're doing? When they sacked Ronald Koeman that day, did they actually have a plan going forward? Who would they want? Because you think to yourself, you hear reports about Dyche has got a buyout clause. Well, if his buyout clause is 5, 6, 7 million, go and pay it, because that's nothing compared to what they've done. So it looks to me as if they actually don't know which direction they're going. Or they do, but it's maybe 3 different directions.
I think probably what's happened, Phil, they've probably been caught. They've been caught a little bit by this number that Watford are putting on Marco Silva. They might, you know, if that's 8.5, 10 million quid, as you say, Jeff, it might be up to 15 million pounds. Then they might. I can't remember the last manager that anyone paid that for. Can you? I don't know.
No.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone that's ever been headhunted to that sort of level. So,
but the money's never been at the level it's at now.
No, true.
So maybe that goes with the territory.
Pochettino was a little. I think it was 67 million
true.
maybe from Southampton. There was a compensation figure in there, but not to the levels of Marco Silva.
No.
And it maybe shows that there aren't that many candidates out there good enough to manage Everton.
OK, last question on Everton right now. Do you fear for them in terms of their Premier League status?
No, I don't, because I think they've still got time and they've still got enough quality in the squad. The thing that I'm scared about is when it gets to January. Look, they've got a massive hole in the squad with a lack of a centre forward. They didn't replace Lukaku. But when it comes to January, who did they buy and who wants to come to Everton?
I was going to say, whatever they do now, how much of a problem is it to attract a top name? It's
a massive problem. In the summer, they were going for Costa, they were going for the top strikers in Europe. Now, will they be available and will they want to come to Everton? What type of striker could Everton bring in, being maybe...
Just an experienced one.
An experienced one alone.
That might be just slightly there in his career, just on the way down. Maybe they've got to look for a top player that's just slightly on the way. A bit like what United did with Ibra last year when they took him.
Stopgap maybe to
that sort of thing. But you're right. You're not going to get
so they need
really
a manager and a decent striker.
Oh, and the rest. And the rest.
I'd prefer a centre forward. I would prefer a centre forward in that team than a manager at this moment in time, because if you put a centre forward in that team, Everton would be better.